across the country. We will be in the 10 o'clock hour on the Impact Television Network, and we are live here in the House of Justice. I want everybody to get on their feet. If you're at home, put your hands together on this Memorial Day weekend for the soul reacher, the liberation seeker, the people's preacher, the founder and president of the National Action Network, the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
What do we want?
Justice.
What do we want?
Justice.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
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 Hug the person next to you. Tell them you love them. National Action Network Change Choir. Give them a big hand. Give them a big hand. Certainly we're happy to be with you another Saturday morning for our Saturday Action Rallies. For you that are here live in the House of Justice, 106 West 145th Street in the Village of Harlem. And you that are listening live on 1190 WLIB AM in New York, and you that are watching live on nationalactionnetwork.net nationwide, and we'll be on in a few minutes on Impact Television worldwide. We are happy to be with you to give our weekly report where the action is. Give a hand to our presider, Attorney Michael Harding. And let's give a hand to Pastor Conway Johnson for that inspirational message. Give Pastor Johnson, Sharon Baptist Church of New Brunswick, who gave us a word this morning. Glad to have him and all of our people here, even on a Memorial Day weekend, and certainly the presence of our own Bishop Herbert Daughtry. And of course, the mother of Eric Gardner with us every week, and we are with her Gwen Carr. Let us also welcome today, we're glad and honored to have, we're going to hear from him later, Kevin Meggett, who is the coach and black veterans for social justice. And I remember Brother Job Marishi and others founded that many years ago. Job was G2 Wausi's brother. And G2, I know him since he was a teacher, came to speak in my high school when I was just going in the 9th grade, so I knew this group since it started. The misnomer, and I'm gonna get into that in my Memorial Day message, is that we are not veterans, and that we being blacks, and that we've not served, but that veterans and those that have served are not committed to justice. People that have gone and served in the armed forces have more right than any to demand justice and fairness at home. If you've gone and put yourself in danger for a country, you ought not be in danger when you come back to the country. So that's why what they have done down through the years is so important. Let me say by the way of announcements again, this Wednesday, Tuesday and Wednesday, right here at the House of Justice from 4 to 8 is there will be mental health first aid, and we asking you to come out. This is done in conjunction with National Action Network and Thrive NYC. And that will be from 4 to 8 right here at the House of Justice, free mental health first aid. We've got to get out of this stigma that we ought not deal with our first aid, our mental health issues. There is nothing wrong with seeking help for mental illness. There's something wrong with not seeking help. If you live under the stress and strain and instability that our people have lived under, it is no wonder all of us don't have more mental health problems. So don't feel shame about it, because many of us are reacting to shameful experiences. Hello. I remember when I did Michael Jackson's eulogy, and I said, wasn't nothing strange about Michael, something strange about the situation he was facing. If you became the hottest artist in the world, bought your own music catalog, bought the Beatles catalog, and everybody else's catalog, worth billions of dollars, and then they tell you you broke, ain't no wonder you walking around with your pants up like they was high-order britches and some funny glasses. What's wrong with Michael? Something wrong with them. You know, he own all that, and they tell him you ain't got no money. And they say, Michael done went crazy. No, it's a crazy situation. So many of us are reacting to craziness and need to know how to deal with that and manage that reaction. And that's what Tuesday and Wednesday is about. And I want you to take advantage of it. And don't be feeling self-conscious about coming. Feel loved and wanted us to work with you. Then on next Saturday, June 1st, is the Peace in the Streets, Peace and Unity March. Don't wait for it to be a disaster for y'all to get all upset about gun violence. We wait on 5 to 10 people get shot and everybody run up there. Our Youth Huddle and other anti-violence groups work on this all the time. And I want us to support Huddle as part of it, of National Action Network, other very credible groups that do this consistently. They're going to start at 1 o'clock on 111th Street and Lenox next Saturday. And they're going to end right here on the corner from the House of Justice, 1 o'clock next Saturday. the Peace in the Streets, Peace and Unity March. Give them a hand. Which means that you come to the rally, get you a sandwich, or you that eat a sandwich, and then 1 o'clock meet them and march. And then don't forget, on Thursday night is legal night here at the National Action Network. You that have legal questions and concerns, come. Attorney Michael Hardy, who started this and is spread nationwide with our chapters, has a whole panel of attorneys to answer your questions. Some folks just don't have $50 for consultation for a lawyer and need information. And some have legal problems. Some folk come on Saturday, I shake hands after the rally and have stacks of cases. That's for legal night. I can't preach an hour and shake everybody's hand and go through your case. First of all, I ain't a lawyer. Just got legal. But legal night is for that. And Attorney Hardy and them are here on this Thursday, legal night at 7 o'clock again at the House of Justice, 145th and Lenox. One of the things that I appreciate about the sustaining of legal night and what we're doing in terms of cases, the Nan members that have been there every day with Gwen Carr at the NYPD hearings for Pantiello, along with Cynthia Smith. Where's Cynthia? Cynthia Davis. I said Cynthia Smith, I'm thinking of WLIB, but Cynthia Davis, Cynthia's up here, is that the longer and older I get, the more I appreciate long distance runners. The struggle is a marathon, not a sprint. And sprinters are flashes. Last 2 or 3 years, big, headline, and then run out of gas. And half the time they end up more in the way than showing the way. But there are those that are long distance runners. That's why I like black veterans. That's why I like Cynthia Davis, that are here in season and out of season. And you appreciate them. WPIX here in New York did a show about a month ago on the Bernard Getz case. And they showed us marching in front of Getz' house, and we stood up with those boys. The whole city was supporting the subway vigilante. Shot 4 boys on the subway. One of the boys that asked him for $5, he said he was going to mug him. He shot him with dum-dum bullets, hollow-out bullets, which means he intended to permanent damage or kill somebody, which he did, Darryl Cady. And a few of us, wasn't but 2 or 3 of us, Reverend Daughtry was one, I was one, that stood up for those boys. Most black folks was on the vigilante side. That's 35 years ago, 1984. I remember Michael Jackson had just done the Victory Tour, had me do the whole community affairs for the Victory Tour. And I had just come home in September. This happened in December. I did not need coming off Michael Jackson's big tour to get involved. But when you are about this, you do this. And we out there marching, got condemned, the guardian angels and them calling us everything but a child of God. Then last night, as Katrina said, they did a special on ABC on the Central Park 5. That was 30 years ago. And we stood against the tide there. Black folks were saying those boys ought to go to jail. And they tell me last night, us marching in the courthouse, raising the bail money. And the brilliant director, Ava DuVernay, has a whole story coming up, documentary starting next week from the boys' side. And those 5 boys went to jail, 7 to 13 years. Corey Weiss got out, couldn't get a job. He worked 3 years right here, and he's here every Saturday. Stand up, Corey Weiss, one of the Central 5 in the house right now. That's 30 years ago. So when I hear people talking all this craziness, or they just want publicity, or they opportunity, well, who paid us 35 years ago to fight for 4 boys on the subway? Who paid us to stand up for 5 boys in jail for rape? And some of their own relatives wouldn't stand up. So whatever I've benefited later in life, I don't apologize for. That's rewards that God promised us if we faithful. God told me the other day, I remember you when you was in sweatsuits and only had one suit to preach it on Sunday. I said, that's right. So if I change clothes now, don't get mad at me. Think about where I come from. You was changing suits then, but you didn't show up in Central Park. You didn't show up at Bernard Guest. You had a pastor's aid committee and wasn't aiding nobody. Let's welcome our Impact Television family. So as we look at Central Park 30 years ago, and I went to the Apollo Theater, the screening for Ava DuVernay's docu the other night. I did not see the thing last night on 2020 that they said they had all of us on. But I supported Ava because I supported these 5 boys. This ain't about who does what. This is about these 5 boys should not have gone to jail for a crime they did not commit, and we proved it over time. And the same with Bernard Guest case. We've been out here for decades. And nobody told us when we got started, nobody told me you fight Subway Goodman in '84, the one that you ever show on MSNBC. Wasn't even an MSNBC in '84. Nobody told me 30 years ago when we stood up for Corey Weiss and them boys that you were going to have access to the White House with President Obama. We didn't even believe 30 years ago there'd be a black president. But because people in their mind don't do anything unless they see the payoff, they try to put that on your mind. That's your values. That ain't my values. I started preaching when I was 4. First sermon I preached Washington when I was 4 years old. That did not make sense to old folks. I ain't been making sense all my life. So why I gotta make sense to you now? We do what we were born to do. And we're gonna do it until we can't do it no more. That's why we continue to fight. This week I preached the funeral in Houston, Texas of Pamela Turner. Here's a woman, they say she had mental issues. Policemen and her got an encounter at her housing development. She was headed home. He and her got in it, somebody videotaped it. He tasered her. Then he claimed she went for his taser and he shot at her 5 times. 3 times hit her, 2 in the abdomen and the last one in her face. They could not even show her body at the funeral. Her face was so distorted. Attorney Ben Crump and the sister called me, National Action Network, our Houston chapter, Reverend Anderson, and National with us, paid for the funeral, and I flew down and preached the funeral. Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. And I told them at the funeral about what Gwen Carr is going through in terms of Eric Garner. This whole matter of police accountability that we've been fighting for decades. You win some, you lose some. The Jones case in West Palm Beach 3 weeks ago, that cop went to jail for 25 years. So we are going to continue to fight, but until we change the laws of police accountability, you're going to keep playing roulette with who you win and who you lose. That is why we must protect while we fight the voting rights, so we can put people in office that will change these laws. When Barack Obama was president and we pressed, and Eric Holder and them started moving toward police reform and consent decrees, we were getting a closer step toward where we need to be. We didn't get where we needed, but we were getting closer. Trump came in and reversed all of that. And then some of us that act super duper militant, act like voting didn't matter. Well, it matters when you stop the road toward progress. And we play, I spoke as somebody announced this morning broadcast. I spoke at the Reform Jewish Convention this week. I told them that you got folk running in synagogues killing people. Got people in our community being shot down on race. All of us need to deal together. Don't mean that we don't have disagreements. But we got to quit playing to the cheap seats and reach for higher ground. And all of this nitpicking, you said this, you did that, I don't agree with that. But do we agree that all of this murder based on race or religion or gender or sexual orientation is wrong? If we agree with that, let's fight that. Because the same folks that are trying to walk around talking about Jews will not replace us is calling us the N-word and hanging up Confederate statues. And the same ones that are dealing with transgender folk and gay folk. And just to stand up for gay rights don't mean that you got to change your lifestyle. Ain't nobody bothering you. They talk about their rights. And you can't fight for anybody's right unless you fight for everybody's right. The right wing and Trump is trying to play us off against each other. Now let me say something. We on impact to my Holy Roller crowd, because I grew up Pentecostal. If you allow them to make this a state based on our religion, and I believe in our religion, but if you make the state and the law run based on our religion, then that means if somebody else of another religion gets in, they can outlaw our religion and run it on theirs. That's why you have to have a separation of church and state. I can think you're wrong, but you have the legal right to do what I think is biblically wrong. Hello? I told the cardinal that one day. We was arguing about something, and he said, but I think that's biblically wrong, and they're going to hell. I said, that's my point. God gave a choice to go to heaven or hell. So why you going to make a law to force them into your way? God gave you a choice. Bible said, choose ye this day. You trying to make the choice for them. I'm a good enough preacher to convert you, not to make you do what I want to do. Hello? We have got to stand up because we are in a climate. I mean, do y'all realize I got Politics Nation on, even on the holiday weekend. We on live tonight, 5 o'clock Eastern, MSNBC. I got Michael Hardy on the show tonight. And on again tomorrow night, 5 o'clock Eastern, every Saturday and Sunday. And one thing I'm talking about, I think people miss Bishop Daughtry. I travel a lot. You travel a lot. Many of you get around the country. Everywhere I go, the infrastructure is crumbling. Streets, bridges, tunnels, crumbling. You used to see just potholes in the black community in New York. Now, I mean, I've been to Houston and Louisville this week, preaching Louisville last Sunday. And they hit potholes coming down from the airport expressway. You used to never see that. The infrastructure is crumbling. So they're going to have a meeting at the White House on infrastructure redevelopment with the Congress, Speaker of the House, Schumer, and the President. President comes in the meeting and does what my mother used to call throws a hissy fit. and says, y'all, if y'all want to talk infrastructure, I'm not working with no bipartisan anything till y'all stop these investigations. Then he walks out. This is where I keep telling y'all he's an actor and a con man. He walks out the meeting and they have flyers and posters out in the Rose Garden, which meant he already intended to walk out and have this little press conference rally, talking about what he achieved. And he did something Gwen Carr I've never seen nobody do as president. He put a poster in front of the presidential seal. They had the poster up here. You know, the president speak. When Obama came to National Action Network twice, the seal is always there for the president. Because the presidency is bigger than the president. The seal stands there for the country, what he and veterans fought for. He put his poster, his propaganda, y'all go online and look at it, in front of the seal, which means his personal ego is more important to him than the state that he is heading right now. And you going to walk out on a meeting on rebuilding the bridges and the tunnels and the streets and the highways because you don't want somebody to investigate your mess. Well, first of all, if you are not guilty of anything, then why are you so rattled and upset? Oh, they lying on me. Oh, they picking on me. Just whining and crying. I told him I was on somebody's TV show last night that the kids, his children, need for fathers, they give them a big pacifier and sit them in a high chair. Just need to be pacified like a big baby. You ain't gonna look at my financial record. This one they can't testify. I ain't talking. What are you? You're the president of the United States. Stand up and be what you elected to be, or get out the way. But if you got all of this blocking and ducking at the expense of the people, not only do we need the rebuilding of the infrastructure, there are jobs there. You got these young men in the audience this morning that can be trained to rebuild highways. That's good paying jobs. He's dumping money to the farmers because he done messed up their income woofing with China, but will not deal with an infrastructure bill that will rebuild not only the cities but rural areas. And a lot of us missed that. Talking about, oh, Trump did it again, he walked out. But look at what he walked out on. And that's why we've got to come back and deal with all of this temper tantrum stuff that Mr. Trump is dealing with, and criminal justice. When you have, it amazes me, that's why I kept telling a lot of our young people that you can't get tricked by people that want to pit one against the other. This is a long struggle. If we fought for Corey and them 30 years ago, they were kids then. This is a long struggle. And they will talk about, well, we need a new guard. We always need new guards that work with the old guard. First of all, the new guard has energy, but the old guard know where we going. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, but my mother was from Dothan, Alabama. When I would go down south for Christmas, till I was about 8 years old, we'd go down to Christmas, see her mother, go and see my father's mother in Walbassar Flower. I did not know nothing about Dothan, Alabama, or Walbassar. Now, I didn't go down there talking about I'm the new God, I'm the new Sharpton. I was the youngest. young as one of my mother's kids. I stand out in the yard. I didn't know how to get to town. I didn't know about pigs or cows. I needed grandma to tell me how to get downtown. Hello. We need all of us together. If somebody tries to break up your family, they don't mean you no good. I'll be watching people. You walk up to the rally, and somebody outside the family said, "You watch them. Here they come." That's old God. Listen, how you gonna let somebody not in your family tell you to watch your family? First of all, who are you? How you get in my family? I know them better than you do. Hello? Yes. Well, you better watch them. I'm watching you. You just showed up. But we get tricked into that. And then I ignore it because any decent family tries to avoid having a public fight. That's why I respect some of the families that we work with. Yes, you got family differences, all of us do. But you had that behind closed doors. You go out in the front lawn and have a fight. You ain't having a neighborhood fight, you having a family fight. And everybody done had it. Bishop Washington used to say to me that in his marriage, he never had a single argument. There was always double, him and his wife. We are in serious times where Trump and that ilk is trying to reverse everything we have done with criminal justice, voting, and economic breakthroughs. First thing they did is try to turn back everything that President Obama did and hire some blacks, or I should say rent or lease some blacks. Talk about Obama didn't do nothing. I tell them in Louisville last Sunday, if Obama didn't do nothing, then what is Trump undoing? Federal Health Care Act alone helped blacks disproportionately because we were disproportionately without any health coverage. When he saved the economy and we were at the bottom of the economic ladder, it helped us more than anybody. He cut black unemployment in half. He began dealing with trade agreements with Asia that now Trump is undoing, fighting with these trade wars. He broke down the barrier with Cuba and went to Cuba. As U.S. President, all you radicals have been talking about Cuba, free Cuba. Obama went there. Walked through the streets of Havana, but that wasn't good enough for you. Because he didn't invite you to his Christmas party. One guy said to me, well, I'm against Obama because I had a black forum and he didn't come. Well, I had some and he did come, so why should I be mad at him? He didn't come to yours, he came to mine. And he announced something and did something. I mean, all this foolishness. We have got to understand that they are, since the beginning of this country, since the founding of this country, let me tell you where we at. Since the founding of this country, there has been the battle between those that wanted a strong national federal government and those that wanted to govern by states' rights. That was the battle. If you have a decentralized state by state government. I want y'all to get me clear on this. Then each state decides your rights with voting, civil rights, education, labor, all of that. Which means that they can do what they want in Alabama as opposed to Massachusetts. Whole Civil War was around states' rights versus a federal government. States' argument is we have the state right to enslave people and not pay them. Federal government was mandated to protect folk in states with a strong federal government that states could not violate federal law. That's why in '54, when they had the Brown versus the Board of Education decision, it mandated you cannot discriminate in states without abiding by federal law that separate was not equal. You let others turn around and tell you that the Dr. King's movement was about integrating with whites. It was about not having unequal access to the goods of government that you were equally paying taxes for. But in the distortion, they tell our young folk, well, all they wanted to do was eat in the lunch counter with white folk. This wasn't about eating with white folk. This wasn't about sitting on the toilet with white folk. This was about if we gonna pay the tax, and the restaurant gonna have the street lights that we paying for, and the police that we paying for, and the regulated electricity, then I can eat there like everybody else, or they can't enjoy the luxury of what my taxes provide. The fight was desegregation and to take the power from the states and be protected by the federal government. That was Lonnie Guinier's piece, tyranny of the majority. So the federal government protects the minority. Well, here we are now, that they're going into trying to recreate a states' rights model. States' rights on women's right to choose. Alabama make a law, then Missouri, then Ohio, then Georgia. Run it up the pipe, up to the Supreme Court, and the idea the Supreme Court will come back and say, well, you can't make women do this, but it's up to the states to do this, that, and other. They are slow walking you toward a states' rights model. And when they get through with that, with women, they will go to voting, they will go to blacks, they will go to immigrants, they will go to gays, and you will end up in 20 years in a states' rights model if you don't stop it now. We've got to have a strong national federal government. How you gonna do that, Sharpton? We got to protect the vote. Got to do the census. And we got to put the folk in the Senate and the Congress and the White House that believe in a strong national government to protect us. Now, the reason that you got such desperation by some of the far right is they've already done the numbers. See, a lot of folks go on emotion. You got to go with a scientific analysis of where we are. They have done a scientific analysis that by 2040, blacks and browns will be the majority of the people born in this country. So you're seeing the last breath of those that are afraid of living in a country that is no longer dominated by populace by just white males. It ain't like blacks and browns are going to do something to them. But when you're raised on a paranoia that anything other than you is a threat to you, your insecurity will make you hear spooks walking through the bedroom at night that ain't there. And that's what's driving their movements. That's why you can have somebody in the White House clowning And they don't be concerned about that because they're more concerned about trying to protect themselves by putting up a states' right model. And that's what you got to understand. They are more concerned with the end result than all of the chicanery in between. They trip us out and distract us on all the chicanery rather than I'll look at the end result. So when we were dealing with fights, we're more caught up on who gonna speak rather than what gonna be said. I remember when we started fighting back in the day. Burnout Gas, 35 years ago, then on the Central Park and Howard Beach. Now I had my youth group, Reverend Arch was out there, others. I remember more folk was arguing with me about why you wear that James Brown hairstyle. Then what I say? Why the media only show up with Sharpton? Well, if I was what would draw the media, and we trying to get public attention, then let you shut up and let me bring the media so we can get some public attention. But if you were caught up in talking to one walkie-talkie, and I can bring it into public attention, it ain't about me, it is about what is strategically needed to do to get it done. You cannot change public opinion if you can't get the public's attention. So when we were going out there stopping subways, days of outrage, when sat on the tracks, everything, the strategy was to not let them ignore us. We had to hold the city's attention. People thought we were just doing something. Folks said, well, old Sharpton just wanted publicity. That's exactly what I wanted. Nobody called me to keep a secret. They called me to get publicity on the pain they were suffering. When Eric God was choked to death by Pandiello, and Cynthia Davis got me on the phone, put me on the phone with Gwen Carr. Gwen Carr didn't say, don't tell nobody now. They wanted me so we could blow it up. Eric Garner is not the only victim in the last 5 years, but because we marched, because we kept coming, because his mama wouldn't let it go. That's why they know Eric Garner's name all over the world. We are not going to let it go. But those that have never engaged in struggle don't know how to fight a struggle. So they got more caught up, Kevin, a bunch of elitists. Well, I don't know why they're out there like that. When our critique, you always had a critique, but it ain't led toward no justice. We put people in jail in Howard Beach, and in Bensonhurst, and just did it with the Jones case. While you sitting around studying the problem, we solving the problem, or demanding the problem get solved. Well, the only reason they're talking to Sharpton not means he's flamboyant his hairstyle. No. Well, get me a weave if that's what we need. Whatever it takes to keep the spotlight on the suffering of our people. You so smart, you ain't no good to nobody. I come out of King School of Thought. I started, as Jesse Jackson was here a few weeks ago, as youth director in New York under his national leadership and Reverend William Jones. What Martin Luther King mastered in, y'all need to get this at home, is in putting a public spotlight on things that were occurring for a long time. Rosa Parks wasn't the first black woman that they told to get in the back of the bus. They've been doing that for years. They needed someone like King to put a spotlight on. When they went to Birmingham, Dr. King had children going to jail, dogs biting babies, which brought the spotlight on Jim Crow and led to the Civil Rights Act. When they marched across the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Birmingham and in Selma and beat Hosea Williams and John Lewis, Dr. King was preaching at his daddy's church in Atlanta. They rode into Selma and continued to march from Selma to Montgomery. Why? Because the world watched them. So I come out of a school of thought that masters in dramatizing and putting a spotlight on our issues. That's what we were trained to do. Not sit up somewhere trying to impress folk on how smart we are. Write books to each other. Engage in procrastination and intellectual masturbation. Just sitting up in these schoolrooms jerking black folks off rather than getting out here and demanding people pay some attention and demanding that those in government make change, and there ain't gonna be no peace until there's justice. We're gonna make noise, we're gonna mobilize. That's what no justice, no peace means. That's why we went down to the courthouse 30 years ago for Corey Weiss. They're lynching them boys, forced them into confession on a rape they didn't do. And somebody needs to go down there and say, I stand with these boys. You sit there don't talk about they go Sharpton and Sharpton them showing off, but them boys needed somebody that they can look out there and say, I'm not here by myself. Can you imagine sitting up in a cell with a policeman making you say you did something you didn't say? Wouldn't let them eat, wouldn't let them see their mama. Said, we let you go, just say you did this to the woman. Made them lie. Put them in jail for 13 years. And the only hope they had is to turn on the news and see some of us stand there saying, hold on, we with you. It might look like showing off to you, but it was giving hope to them. Somebody had to stand up. Can you imagine? You that have children. Somebody call you and tell you that the police just killed your son. You ain't got a whole lot of money. You don't know what to do. And somebody else call and say, but we'll stand there. We'll help you with the lawyer. We'll help you. We know it's going to cost you to go all over the country. We'll help with that. That's why we still with Glenn Carr. I ain't thinking about y'all. I'm thinking about the pain of the victims. Because I got enough sense to know that could be me. That could be my daughter. That could be my niece, my nephew. And before it happened to my grandson, I'm going to fight for yours. And if you don't like it, that's fine with me. about you. But we're going to fight until we change this thing. Because I've seen too much to know quiet means they will ignore you. And that's what Trump is doing now, sucking up all the media. That's why I went to Houston to force them to put it on the news. Because we know that they're going to have to do it. Nothing else I'm going to put on my show.
That's right.
That's why I want to be there with Gwen Carr. I want them to show us all of us. Not just the same group, all the groups. Where the super duper astronauts is coming. Bring them on. Get the spacemen. Get the folk, the coalition. They be calling me, well, Reverend, we don't know about the coalition. I don't care if it's the Mars coalition. Bring them on to the one police guy. From Jupiter, it don't matter. We're trying to raise their level of attention so they stop burying our cases. Bring you right into Memorial Day. In the aftermath of the Civil War, y'all going to these Memorial Day celebrations, talk about summers here, getting ready to go to the beach. First day at the beach, all over the news this morning, I'm working out, and all these folk that's been eating all winter, trying to fit into these swimsuits. No, you built different. Ain't nothing more comical than you trying to fit your big African behind in a French cut bikini. Ain't no French cut about your behind. You a size 50 in a size 20 bathing suit. And talking about to the folk, what you looking at you? There was the backlash to the Union Army fighting the Confederates. There was mass graves in Charleston and in Richmond, Virginia. They burned the Union soldiers, burned their graves. I had Reverend Jackson on my daily radio show talk about it yesterday. And because they burned them, blacks came out in South Carolina and in Virginia and would once a year march 7 times around where they had these mass graves. Union Army soldiers. That they would never forget that they fought to save the Union and to break the back of slavery. They had memorials for some of the Confederates, they had memorials for some of the others, but the Memorial Day tradition with us started around the aftermath of the Civil War for the Union Army breaking the back of slavery, fighting against states' rights. You and I need to understand and teach our folk what Memorial Day is all about. It was not something that we were uninvolved with. It is at its core a celebration of breaking the backs of slavery, which is why we ought to be using this weekend to make sure that we don't go backwards but go forward. When they signed the Emancipation Proclamation and the slaves were freed of chattel slavery, people all over Europe were fighting as abolitionists. And the French abolitionists gave the United States a tribute for freeing the slaves, a statue holding up the torch. And the original statue had the chains broken at her feet. What were those chains? They were the chains that were holding us. You don't even know what the Statue of Liberty is for. It was a gift from abolitionists celebrating the freedom of the slaves. That's why the chains will be broken. But they changed and taken the meaning because you're so busy trying to be like others that you don't celebrate yourself. When you come in that New York harbor and look at that torch is a gift because the chains were broken. Memorial Day is to remember those that died so that our forefathers was not locked in slavery. This wasn't about going to no beach. This was about marching 7 times around mass graves. If you don't tell the story, then you end up celebrating the wrong thing. That's why every year we're careful to do Policy Day on Martin Luther King's birthday. Because every year they get more and more away from what Dr. King was about. Dr. King wasn't about going to the mall looking for no King Day sale. It was about justice. It was about equality. It's about empowering people. Don't let them take your story. That's why if you go all the way through the Bible, every generation was connected to the generation before it, not critical. And they say, I come to fulfill the law of Moses. I come in the name of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They asked Jesus, God's son, did you come to change the law of Moses? He said, no, I came to fulfill the law. Here you come, and everybody older than you ain't no good. I got to do my thing. Ain't nobody in history did their thing and lasted. Nobody in history didn't come to fulfill the dreams of those that preceded them. God wasn't waiting on you. You were waiting on God. That's why I said, he that findeth himself. Say this, I'm going to let you go. This is a Memorial Day message for you. The Bible says, he that findeth himself. Get all wrapped up in yourself. All about you, all about ego. You the new thing. Taking selfies and think that it means yourself look better. Writing Facebooks to yourself. Talking to your crowd. He that findeth himself shall lose it. But he that loseth himself, don't care how you look, don't care what they say about you, get lost in a cause. That it don't matter if they criticize you, don't matter if they call you all manner of names, lose yourself. Because in getting lost in God, you'll find yourself. Somewhere along my journey, I got lost in a cause that was bigger than me. It made more sense for me to leave the cause and manage James Brown, but I got lost in the cause. It made more sense for me to roll with Don King and make a lot of money, but I got lost in the cause. I got so lost, I was out there with a tracksuit, long hair, and chain around my neck, yelling, no justice, no peace. I got lost. But in the loss, God found me and lifted me up and turned me around and made my enemies leave me alone. I'm glad I got lost. But while I was lost, I found Curry Weiss and the other 4 Central Park. While I was lost, I found Darrell Cady and the kids that went out get shot. While I was lost, I went through Howard Beach with Daughtry, went through Bensonhurst. I wasn't lost, I was following a route that God wanted me to follow. And he said, if you would deny yourself and lift me up, don't worry what they write about you, lift me up. Don't worry what they call you, lift me up. I'll draw all men unto you. Fret not thyself because of evildoers. Don't be envious against the workers of iniquity, because I got a calendar for them. They will soon be cut down and wither. But the steps of a good man, you're going to look lost, but the steps of a good man is ordered by the Lord. Stand up, black man. Stand up, black woman. Order my steps. Order my steps. Order my steps. Order my steps. Yeah. Yeah. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Singing like you mean it. Singing like you mean it. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. One more time. One more time. Everybody's singing. I'm opening the doors of the movement. There may be someone here today, and you know if it's you, that never joined National Action Network. You hear us on the radio, see us on television, but never join and say, I want to be a part of what they're doing. I want to join the committee. I want to work where I can. May not have all the time everybody else has, but I can do something. Today is your day that you should step out and be part of this National Action Network family. If you're here, just come down to me and let us sign you in to the National Action Network. If you're not a member, come on. Everybody singing. Everybody singing. Everybody singing. Everybody singing. Singing like you mean it. Singing like you mean it. We want justice. Got to have justice. We want justice. Everybody sing. Everybody sing. Everybody singing. All right. Before I take our offering, I want us to hear some words from Kevin Meggett, who is from our Black Veterans for Social Justice. Got here a little late, but I want us to hear from him, then I'm going to take the offering. This is Memorial Day weekend. Give Kevin a hand.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. My name is Kevin Meggett. I'm a job coach, amongst a lot of other things, for Black Veterans for Social Justice. We are now 40 years old, and we're a community-based organization that specializes in veteran services. So we are for the community, but we specialize for veteran service. I myself, I'm a war veteran of the Desert Storm, Desert Shield. I served them both. And I thank you. Thank you very much. And when I enlisted with a price up to paying with my life for this country. And a lot of our veterans, we come home to very little to nothing. We're not aware of these services. I'll give you my little personal testimony, how I became part of the Black Veterans and Social Justice family. I had 2 jobs. I was earning a very decent salary at that time. I was working for, if you remember, New York City Off-Track Betting, OTB. I was a manager for OTB. And I was working for UNFCU, which is short for United Nations Federal Credit Union. And I lost both of these jobs due to the economy when George W. Bush was president. And simultaneously found myself in a rut. And I went into the good Reverend Doctor was talking about mental illness. There's so many forms of mental illnesses that there are. What I suffered from was what you call unemployment depression. I became depressed being unemployed, not being able to enhance my skills or find skill settings. And I went on to being that way for maybe about 2.5 years. And I was introduced to Black Veterans for Social Justice through my daughter. She told me about them, and I went down, and it was amazing. It was amazing in terms of I felt like I had a home. I felt like this is a place I wanted to be. And they don't allow you to get comfortable there. They cross-train you in a lot of different fields. We provide a lot of job opportunities for people of color, particularly and especially Black people, but all people, really. It just so happened to be more people of color. We don't discriminate. We're very tolerant. You know, we do the tolerance thing. Every walk of life walks through that door. Everyone is equal. The name Black scares people. And so when you say Black justice, Black veterans and social justice, people get scared and think we only do for Black people. We do for everyone. All right. You know, it just so happens that our founder, which is Joe Mashariki, thank you, seen a need for services coming home from the Vietnam War era, back in, I believe, in 78 or 79, don't quote me. And he got, and one of the hardest things there is to do is to galvanize people. And what he did was he galvanized people to create something that was rightfully ours. You know, there was the disparity between white veterans and Black veterans was huge, and he saw that. And so he created a community-based organization that said, we're going to help not only veterans, but everyone in the community. And I think, I love him to death for that. I love him for having that vision. And our current CEO and president, Miss Wendy McClinton, she's phenomenal. She doesn't let you get comfortable at all. You cannot, I'm a job coach, but I also work in the shelter system. We provide services in different areas. And she makes sure that we are trained. And I'm surprised I'm so trained that she thought enough for me to be up here, so I want to thank her for that if she sees me. But she makes sure we're trained, and she won't allow us to get comfortable. You know, and I love the organization. But I want to talk about Memorial Day. Memorial Day, for I think close to 10 years, we've been doing our own Memorial Day parade in Brooklyn, from Restoration Plaza to our headquarters which is located at 665 Willoughby in Brooklyn. And this year we're having a mini stand down. So what a stand down is a military stand down is, normally it could last maybe 2 days. Whereas veterans can actually come in and get every service imaginable. If they need upgrades, it's there. Haircuts, it's there. Medical screening, everything that you could possibly think of is there. We're doing a mini stand down, so it's only gonna last that 1 day. And we will be out providing these services. We will still also be having a march from Restoration Plaza to headquarters. And we would love for you to join us. A lot of you may not be veterans, but a lot of you know who may know of a veteran. You may have a veteran in your family. You may have a neighbor that's a veteran. Let them know these services, and these are rightfully ours. I for one really believe black people should be in a protective class.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I really believe veterans also should be in a protective class also. Because I unselfishly, I actually enlisted the day after Kuwait went into Iraq. I knew I was going to war. So that's kind of courageous, but this is home. We got to take care of home. I want to thank the good Reverend Doctor for having me here. I want to thank you because in closing, I want to tell you we had the last training we had, our founder actually said to me, well, not to me, he said to the whole entire organization, people make communities. I hope I'm getting this right. People make communities. Communities make institutions, and institutions make better people. So I want to thank the National Action Network for being an institution that empowers people. I definitely want to thank my organization, Black Veterans of Social Justice, for the empowerment that they give us. And I don't want to say that they give it to us, they make us earn it, because anything that someone gives you, they can actually take it back. So I earned the empowerment that under the leadership of them. And thank you, you're beautiful people, all right? And have a great day, thank you.
Give them a hand, black veterans. I want everybody, we're gonna raise our offering. One thing you can do on Memorial Day weekend, nothing more profound to do on the Saturday of Memorial Day weekend is to look in your wallet and give me your best offering and remember what you had when you came here, because you will leave it with me to go home. I want you to memorialize your money now and bury it in this pan. If you got I'll tell you what, I'll make a deal, a holiday deal with you. Everybody that has any slave masters on your currency, as George Washington, as Andrew Jackson, has been for all of them. If they slave master, bring it and give it to me. Get them slave masters out your way. Now, if you got a Marcus Garvey $100 bill, you can keep it. You got a W.B. Du Bois $10 bill, you can keep it. Just bring me all of your slave masters, and I'll know that you are sincere about liberation. You can't be a freedom fighter walking around with slave masters in your pocket. All right, that's our holiday deal. All right, I'm gonna raise our offering. Glad to see Sister Mallory. I know you lost your sister. Glad to see her. Our prayers are with you and the family. All right, I need about 10 people to give $100 or more to come quickly. About 10 people. Come on, Brother Winston Gilchrist, $100.
Barbara Baskets, $20.
Barbara Basket, she do it every week, $200. Corey White, Central Park 5, $100. Brother Gaddy, $100. New member, Brother William Drew, $100. Guardians, $100. I think I got my 10. Bring me some 50s. 50, 50. 50. Brother John. $50, $50, $50. 20s, 20s, 20s. Come on, come on, come on. Thank you. Thank you. I've been missing you the last couple of weeks. $50 from Charles. All right, now everybody, whatever you have, $1, $5, $10. Come on, whatever you have.